Hey, what's going on, DDO players? Axel here. So we got some more information on the Hardcore Like event, which is called Lanterns in the Mist, and I hopped on Cormier, the preview for Cormier, which is going to be the new 64-bit server. I've actually hopped on it twice, once for the first preview and then yesterday for the preview for the Lanterns event, and checked it out. So let's talk about it. I'll go through all the updated information, and I'm going to show you some gameplay footage of the lantern stuff. You know, me getting lanterns and killing the little spawns that we're going to, Mistwalker spawns we're going to talk about here. But anyways, let's start with this Lamania post. So Torque says, hello folks, we're pleased to announce the new event that will be running on the 64-bit server Cormier when it launches. So here goes into the story portion, which it does tie into Ravenloft. The mists of Ravenloft have begun to appear with greater frequency across the plains. Furthermore, there are reports of mysterious, whispering shapes appearing in those mists. Some appear humanoid, others appear snake-like, with rumors of a great serpent sometimes being seen. No one is safe at night. People are beginning to disappear from Faerun to Eberron, falling prey to these mist stalkers, bolded as they are soon named. Shortly after these disappearances begin, a group of strangers appear from the mist bearing curious magical lanterns. They call themselves the Order of the Guardians, and they claim to have a solution to the new threat. Okay, so how does this work? So the event begins by playing a short story dungeon. The quest is a free level 1 solo dungeon, but designed to be played by characters at any level. The story will dovetail into new content this year. So I did play this new quest, which you're seeing footage of now. There's actually it can work for any level because there's actually nothing that you fight in the dungeon. There's a section where spoilers by the way, section of it where you have to hide from a Baylor, but there's nothing like that would make it more difficult for a level 1 versus a level 34. But yeah, it's you have to play through the dungeon. I saw some mixed opinions on this. I thought it was a little long. I mean, it would be nice if you could just go to the Hall of Heroes and pick up the lanterns that you want, but you need to play through this dungeon first. I get why they're doing that, story reasons, and they say here that this story that's introduced is going to dovetail into new content coming next year, so it's probably going to tie into whatever mini expansion we end up getting next year, and probably an adventure pack as well. The DDO likes to do these building storylines that go on for years, you know, so we're kind of starting a new one now that we've wrapped up the Vecna stuff and the Myth Janor stuff. We did that, so we'll see what happens. Okay, next thing, players will be able to acquire a variety of lanterns from the Order in the Hall of Heroes. Okay, so after you complete this quest, you have to talk to different NPCs. So there are magical trinkets which allow the player to detect miststalkers and fight them better. There are 2 sets of 5 lanterns. More on that later. And we'll keep going now, but we'll definitely go into those in more detail here in just a second, and we'll just follow along with the way Torque is phrasing this. Okay, 3, players can hunt miststalkers in any content they choose outside of raids. They can appear nearly everywhere, but only if a player has a lantern equipped in their trinket slot while the event is on. Okay, a couple things on this. While you have a lantern equipped, they will spawn, but it's kind of like, and I didn't play the Hound season of Hardcore, but I'm told it's kind of like Hounds. Basically, as you have this lantern equipped, they will spawn. It seems to take, and I did test it a bit. I rolled up a new level 1 character. I ran some Korthos quests and some Borderlands quests, and it seemed to take like 5-ish minutes. So if it's a short quest, it's likely you may finish the quest before you see one, but they should appear like 1-ish per quest. But you have to have that lantern equipped. Now, they said here that only if a lantern is equipped in the trinket slot. There has been discussion on the forums over the past couple days that this might change, and I agree it should change, because it really stinks that you get this item that takes up a gear slot just to participate in the event. So there has been discussions about them possibly moving this to a cosmetic slot. They're saying possibly the shield slot. That has not been confirmed, but that's just something that's been discussed. I would like to see that. Seems like they're open to that based on their comments. We'll have to see. But whatever happens, you're going to have this equipped the whole time. As the players kill Miststalkers, their equipped lantern's durability that starts at 1 will increase. So kind of interesting here what they did. Basically, they took the durability bar on these lanterns, and they're using that as a progress bar. Like, they've kind of taken that and turned it into a progress bar. So you start with no durability or 1 durability. And as you kill these Miststalkers that spawn, again, only spawn if you have this lantern equipped. They will spawn. Once you kill them, you get a little progress. You slowly gain durability as you would like experience, for example. And The lanterns have different requirements and different rewards and stuff we'll go into in a second, but that's essentially how it works. But you don't make progress until you kill these Miststalkers. That's how you get progress. Okay, regular lanterns, these... Okay, so there's two different groups of 5 lanterns. There's the 5 lanterns regular version, and there's the same 5 lanterns hardcore version. So the regular lanterns we'll talk about first. These lanterns are bind to character and can be banked, but not shared, banked, traded, auctioned, or mailed. So you can put them in your character bank, just the regular ones. The hardcore ones, you cannot bank them. Okay, but with the regular lanterns, you can put them in your character bank. And here's the 5 different ones. In Lantern of the Pledge, easy to fill. Okay, you get a cosmetic half cloak for the Order of the Guardian. I wish we had some screenshots of these rewards, but we don't yet. I have not seen them anywhere. Hopefully the devs release them before this event goes live. But anyways, there's an easy one. Pledge, easy to fill. You get a cosmetic cloak. Lantern of the Order, long to fill, only advances on Reaper difficulty, reward, cosmetic cloak, another cosmetic cloak, different one. Lantern of the Shield, medium length to fill, you get a cosmetic shield. Seeker, very long to fill, you get a saber-tooth mount, so that's the big reward, is a saber-tooth mount. Lantern of the Keeper, medium length, reward, magical lantern, cosmetic penance. You can't even say really how many quests or levels it'll take, because these Miststalkers can appear in wilderness areas, they can appear in regular quests, so it really depends on how fast you go through quests, and it depends on, I guess, how much you hang out in wilderness areas. Okay, let's move on to the hardcore ones. So the hardcore lanterns are the same as the regular ones, except they have these differences. So skull lanterns are destroyed on player death. I did test this out and I died. And right when you die, they just get removed from your inventory, the hardcore version. So I actually had a full group of hardcore and regular lanterns. You can take as many, you can take one of each. You can take all 10 of them if you want to. However, you only gain progress through that durability bar if it is equipped. Okay, so you can only progress one at a time, even though you can take as many as you want. Okay, some other differences. Skull lanterns can only be acquired at level 1. So the regular lanterns you can grab whenever you want. So you can just, basically the regular lanterns function is it's just basically, if you just keep playing, you'll eventually get your reward. Like, because the regular ones don't get destroyed as you died, so really you just have to have them equipped and it's fine. Now the only thing that's going to kind of hamper it, now you might say, well, why doesn't everyone just wear a lantern, the regular ones at least? Well, because it does make the game harder, because it does spawn those Miststalkers, which I will say, on Elite, I was running Borderlands quests on Elite, just on a brand new First Life character. I just had a few Korthos pieces of gear because I ran some Korthos quests first, and I went in level 1 on Borderlands on Elite, and the first one I spawned on Elite just destroyed me. It didn't one-shot me, but it two-shot me. But yeah, so they definitely, the difficulty of these Miststalkers does vary, and they might still be adjusting this. This is all Lamania stuff, but they were quite difficult. Now, as we're going to talk about here in a minute, well, I guess I'll just talk about it now. You can actually do this event, either the hardcore or the regular version of this, on a TR'd character. So if you want to take, whenever eventually Cormier allows transfers, you could take your, uber completionist character, TR to level 1, and have that ready to go to complete the hardcore version of this. So you can complete it on those characters now. At first, you're going to have to use a brand new character to do either the hardcore or the regular ones, because there's not going to be transfers available to Cormier. It's going to be a completely fresh server. So everyone's going to be starting on First Life characters at least, although you could run several lives and then TR on Cormier. Anyways, let's keep going. They require you to be level 1, so you have to talk to the Hall of Heroes person, which we'll discuss here in a second. But yeah, you got to talk and grab your lanterns at level 1. Okay, hardcore ones cannot be banked at all, so the regular ones could be put in your character bank. The hardcore ones cannot be put in the bank at all, so they're going to take up inventory spaces. Skull lanterns are turned in for skull badged versions of the rewards above. So basically, and again, we don't have screenshots, but you're going to just have a little fancier version of these same rewards. So they might have like some skull cosmetics and such on the Sabretooth mount, for example. Hope they do a little more than just like put a skull picture of a skull on there. Hopefully they jazz it up quite a bit to make the hardcore ones attractive. But anyways, yeah, let's I think I mentioned this already, but skull lanterns are destroyed on death, and that's not just the one you have equipped. It's all of them. So if you die and you picked up, all of the hardcore lanterns, they all get destroyed. They just get removed from your inventory. So, all right, some general rules and considerations about lanterns. The amount of lantern progress rewarded for killing Miststalker is relative to the quest difficulty and the type of Mistwalker that spawns. So there's several different types of Mistwalkers that can spawn. In this build, we don't add more for additional Reaper Skulls, but that may change. And the difficulty also of the Miststalkers definitely changes depending on if you're on hard or elite or whatever. I mean, unless I just got unlucky when I was testing this, because I ran elite and got destroyed on elite on my level 1 character by the Mistwalker that spawned. But when I went in and I tested on hard, running some Borderlands quests on hard, and the Miststalkers were much easier. So it does change, and they are difficult. Like they're definitely more difficult than regular mobs in quests. They're more difficult than champions. Like they're dangerous, and they also spawn like hounds. They can spawn just in a quest, like when you're just standing there. So you can't go AFK while you're in a quest. If you're gonna go, you need to be at your computer while you're like actually in the quest, because they could spawn if you're doing the hardcore one, you go AFK, they can spawn while you're just standing there at the beginning of the dungeon and kill you. So yeah, so you got to be aware of that. Okay, a couple more things. No progress will be rewarded if the character's level is 3 levels above the dungeon's base level. I thought that was a pretty lenient of them to go 3 levels above. So you do need to be playing no more than 3 levels above. Be a little careful with that when you get into epics, because epics people will often run 4 over, because you can run 4 over and still get the delving bonus in epics. I know heroic it's just 2, but in epics it's 4 levels over. So you got to be a little careful of that in epics to make sure you're 3 over. In heroic that shouldn't affect most anyone, because almost everyone runs 2 levels over. But that might change a little bit with the hardcore event. People may run 3 levels over to be a little more powerful for the content they're running. Okay, Miststalkers only attack if someone in the party has a lantern equipped, and will typically only attack a player's group once per quest. If you're running really short quests, Miststalkers will be rare and may not appear. So yeah, this means you are going to have to deal with them if you're grouping with players who are not doing the lantern event. So on Coromir, and I mentioned this last video, but you can play this event you can play with people that are not doing the event. But if you are not doing the event and you're playing with people who are doing the event, you're still going to have to deal with the Miststalkers. Like they're going to spawn. If just one person in your group has a lantern, they're going to spawn. So be aware of that. All lanterns have the ability Shine on Light with 3 charges per rest. This ability can CC most Mistwalkers and also remove certain effects Mistwalkers apply to the player. Using this ability can be vital for defeating the more difficult ones. I tried to use this a bit. So basically every lantern is also a clicky, and it has this Shine the Light ability for CC on Miststalkers. But I honestly didn't I tried testing it, but I didn't really see anything quite like that really stood out to me. But apparently it's going to be a thing. So more testing from my side is needed. But yeah, they have some kind of CC ability clicky on them. Lanterns will increase in power, gaining new features as they hit their durability thresholds. In this build currently, it is just an increase to MRR. So this will change. I noticed that right now they had Death Block on them. So that's interesting. Could have been Death Ward. Don't quote me on that. It was either Death Block or Death Ward. Okay, F. Lanterns may stop progressing if a player character's level doesn't keep up with the lantern's power level as it gains durability. Oh, okay. Okay, so if the player levels up to that threshold, they will resume progress. You can see what level is required by looking at the lantern. Okay, so this prevents you basically from just staying at a low level and farming your lantern. So you will have to level up. You can't just like pick one quest and just farm Miststalkers, or just farm them in like low level wilderness areas or something. Or at a level where your character is particularly powerful, like maybe when you first put on, I don't know, first get your Sword of Shadow or something. Okay, G, when a Miststalker is killed, only lanterns within 45 meters will benefit. So that means this is to prevent people from piking. So if you're trying to progress, you do have to be somewhere close to them. It's hard to say what exactly 45 meters means. That seems, pretty lenient if that scales to the character. So I'm assuming that's a pretty lenient range, but you can't just stand at the beginning of the dungeon, or you're not going to get credit. Some Miststalkers have disposable minions. They do not count for Lantern rewards. The actual Miststalkers always have a title saying Miststalker. Okay, so they can spawn other sub-mobs. Lanterns and their progress will carry through all types of reincarnation. So you don't have to, if you don't finish your Lantern, you can continue on. Now, they did mention above that if your character's level doesn't keep up with the power level, as it gains durability, you won't see progress. So that I'm assuming that that's going to possibly hamper you here. Like if you get to a point where your Lantern requires you to be level 15 and then you TR, you're not going to have any progress for the first 15 levels. And if it's a hardcore Lantern, then if you die at like level 6 or something, then you're still going to lose your Lantern. You can't bank it and be safe. The last thing I want to talk about here is this going to replace the original hardcore event? I had someone ask in my most recent news video in the comments, and I've seen some players talk about this, and SSG has not been clear on this. They definitely could bring hardcore back, like the regular hardcore, but personally, I don't think they intend to. This again is just speculation on my end. I don't know. They haven't said, but I don't see why they would design this event like this if they didn't intend for this to be a replacement for hardcore. I think the issue with regular hardcore, as I mentioned in the last news video, is that it strips the regular servers of players, and this is a way to kind of meet in the middle and allow people to have a bit of a hardcore experience, even if it's not really hardcore, and also let people play together who are playing hardcore or not playing hardcore. So I think that's really what they intend here, because I don't see why they would do this event and design it like this if they had any intention of bringing back regular hardcore. So what I think they're doing is they're going to see how this plays out and how players respond to this. And if it's pretty positive and there's not a lot of cries for the old hardcore, then they probably won't bring it back. Now, they're never going to come out and say, we will never do regular hardcore again. They're always going to, they're not going to commit to that, saying never, but I don't think we're going to see it again, guys. That's just my prediction. We'll see if I'm wrong. I could very well be wrong, but I think this is kind of going to be the hardcore experience for DDO going forward. Okay, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Take care.